In the tranquil summer of 1975, an enchanting town called Broomall in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, was plunged into darkness by a spine-chilling incident that would haunt the community for generations. Amidst the ordinary humdrum, destiny took a wicked turn on August 15, 1975, when the innocent 8-year-old soul, Gretchen Harrington, mysteriously vanished while en route to a Bible school program.
For almost 50 years, no one knew who killed this little girl in Pennsylvania. But now police say they found her killer, and it's a former pastor who's been living in Marietta for years. That's 83-year-old David Zandstra. He's now charged with killing 8-year-old Gretchen Harrington in 1975.
Days stretched into weeks, weeks into years, as the town relentlessly pursued its cherished young girl. But like a sinister labyrinth, answers slipped through their fingers, leaving them desperate for closure. However, hope was not lost. Prepare to be shaken to your core, for in the year 2023, an earth-shattering revelation would shatter the silence, reigniting the flames of justice in the quest for Gretchen's truth. Welcome back to the chilling realm of True Crime Expresso, where we voyage deep into the abyss of solved and unsolved crimes and brooding mysteries that will unsettle your slumber. Join us as we delve into the heartbreaking story of Gretchen Harrington, a tale of mystery, heartache, and the unyielding quest for truth. In a stunning revelation that shook the world, the killer responsible for her tragic fate was finally uncovered 48 long years later. Astonishingly, this merciless murderer had been hiding in plain sight, masquerading as a church minister, a wolf amongst sheep. Gretchen Harrington was born on June 13, 1967, in Marple Township, Pennsylvania, to Harold and Ina Harrington. In the summer of 1975, something bone-chilling unfolded. The bright-eyed 8-year-old was on her way to a Bible school program at Trinity Chapel Christian Reformed Church, less than half a mile down the road, just a hop, skip, and a jump from her house. Normally, her older sisters would tag along, but that day she ventured solo. Time ticked away, and as the morning sun reached its peak, alarm bells rang for her worried parents. Gretchen was nowhere to be found. Panic-stricken, they dialed the Marple Township Police, initiating a frantic search for their little girl. The entire community rallied, over 300 strong, weaving through the neighborhood in desperate pursuit of any trace of Gretchen. But as the hours slipped by, she remained elusive, leaving nothing but a baffling mystery in her wake. To reach Trinity Chapel, the little girl would typically trek up a steep hill, braving the journey past the supermarket and townhouse development. A neighbor spotted her around 9:25 a.m., determined and focused, but then she vanished without a trace. The community refused to sit idle. As a result, an army of 400 volunteers rallied for the search. Through dense woods, nearly 2 feet thick with underbrush, they combed every inch near the grocery store and housing developments, hoping for a shred of evidence. The sun set, and although they covered over 5 square miles of treacherous terrain, Gretchen remained elusive. The unknown kept hearts heavy, and the tight-knit town held its breath, praying for her safe return. As the investigation deepened, the trail of young Gretchen led to a mysterious dead end halfway up that daunting hill on Lawrence Road. The tracking dogs, skilled as they were, sensed no struggle or signs of distress, leaving the mystery lingering in the air. It was as though Gretchen vanished into thin air at that very point, leaving investigators with an unsettling conclusion. She must have been taken in a vehicle. The community, wrapped in a tight embrace, stood firmly behind Gretchen's parents. Harold Harrington, a minister at the Reformed Presbyterian Covenant Church, and Ina, a devoted homemaker, had raised their 4 daughters with love and a gentle hand, though a touch of strictness marked their Sundays. TV and outdoor play were off limits on the holy day, but their family was united, content, and held no known adversaries. The whole town was determined to unveil the truth, hoping and praying that their dear Gretchen would be returned safely to her loving home. Gretchen Harrington's spirit was as warm as the summer sun, radiating charm and kindness to those she held dear. Shy around strangers, yes, but with her circle of friends, she was a bright spark of energy. Private school classmates and public school neighbors alike found solace in her friendship. She was a force of nature on the sports field, smashing home runs in baseball and ruling the kickball court. Life was about to surprise her with a twist, just 8 days before she vanished. A new baby sister entered the scene, and Gretchen, who had playfully teased about running away if she got another sister, couldn't resist love's enchantment when she laid eyes on her sibling. Now, as the town rallied to find their cherished Gretchen, memories of her radiant smile and adventurous spirit propelled the community's fervent search. Everyone held on to hope, believing she would be brought back to her loving family, where her sisters eagerly awaited her return and her heart yearned for more games to conquer. Harold and Ina, with unwavering certainty, stood by the belief that their dear Gretchen would never willingly step into a stranger's car. The investigation spread like wildfire, consuming the neighborhood as detectives pounded on doors, sharing Gretchen's picture in flyers and establishing a 24-hour hotline to gather any fragments of information. A deluge of over 200 calls overwhelmed the hotline in those initial days, and the relentless investigators pursued each potential lead. But despite their relentless efforts, the trail proved elusive, and none of the provided information offered a clear path to Gretchen's safe return. Gretchen's absence cast a shadow over the tight-knit town, yearning for the day when her laughter would once again echo through the streets. As the days turned into 2 long weeks, the search for Gretchen felt like a desperate journey through a maze with no exits. Despite their initial hope that she might have been taken for ransom, detectives were forced to confront a grim reality. Foul play was now the haunting specter they couldn't ignore. Determined not to give up, they spread their efforts far and wide, blanketing Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey with missing flyers, hoping for a clue to break the case wide open. The hotline buzzed with tips and potential sightings, each one a flicker of hope, but none could be confirmed. One lead seemed to pierce the fog of mystery. A truck driver driving along Lawrence Road on that fateful day came forward, recounting a sighting that matched Gretchen's description. He vividly remembered a green pickup truck parked halfway up the hill towards Trinity Chapel. A little girl, who could very well have been Gretchen, was seen near the truck, accompanied by an unknown male in the driver's seat. But crucial details remained elusive, as the truck appeared to be battered, aged, and even missing its tailgate. As the investigation pushed onward, the town hoped that this lead might finally shed light on Gretchen's whereabouts and bring solace to her anguished family. As the weeks dragged on, tantalizing but elusive sightings emerged from the shadows. A woman's account depicted a male leading a small child towards a white compact car on Lawrence Road. Meanwhile, another witness recalled a scene of a white male, possibly a teenager, and a young child dashing towards a white 4-door sedan. The puzzle pieces seemed to tease the investigators, but none of the vehicles or drivers could be identified, leaving the truth hidden. It remained unclear if any of these events were linked to Gretchen's disappearance. By the end of September, the once flooded hotline had grown eerily silent, and the case began to lose its fervor. Despite diligently identifying potential persons of interest, the investigators struggled to make any definitive connections to Gretchen's disappearance. Their frustration mounted as viable leads decreased, and the chilling truth became apparent. They had no idea what had transpired, which left them grasping at straws. In an act of desperation, one detective sought solace in the supernatural, turning to a psychic in hopes of unraveling the enigma. The psychic's unsettling revelation echoed like a chilling breeze through the room. She stated that Gretchen was no longer alive, but the whereabouts of her body remained a riddle. The town, heartbroken and yearning for answers, clung to the fading glimmer of hope, praying that somehow, some way, they would find Gretchen and bring her home. But as the days turned to months, the mystery deepened, leaving everyone haunted by the question, what had truly happened to Gretchen Harrington? On the somber day of October 14, 1975, the search for Gretchen reached its tragic conclusion. As fate would have it, a sailor from the Philadelphia Naval Yard was jogging through Ridley Creek State Park in Delaware County when an unimaginable discovery stopped him in his tracks. Human remains concealed in the shadows of the park. Despite the advanced state of decomposition, investigators held a chilling certainty in their hearts. They knew in their bones that they had found Gretchen. The clothing found at the scene offered a haunting confirmation, and dental records sealed the grim identification. The town, gripped by grief, mourned the loss of their vibrant young girl, whose laughter and spirit now seemed to echo through the trees of the very park that held her final resting place. The unanswered questions of what had led to this tragic end continued to haunt everyone's minds, leaving a void in the hearts of Gretchen's loved ones. As the community grappled with their sorrow, they vowed to keep her memory alive, cherishing the joy she brought to their lives and the impact she had on each soul she touched. Gretchen Harrington may have left this world too soon, but her spirit would forever endure, woven into the fabric of their close-knit town, a beacon of hope and love in the face of darkness. The search for Gretchen's killer gripped the town, and state troopers diligently combed the park grounds with metal detectors, hoping for a shred of evidence that would lead them to closure. They delved into countless interviews, scrutinizing the lives of sex offenders residing in the vicinity, yet the trail remained maddeningly elusive. Despite their suspicions surrounding a particular individual, solid proof to support their theory eluded them, keeping the suspect's identity hidden from the public eye. This convicted sex offender, ultimately imprisoned on unrelated charges, became a person of interest in Gretchen's case. But the doubts within the investigative team cast shadows on this assumption. Though the relentless pursuit of other leads continued, the once burgeoning tips slowly withered away, and the case turned cold, leaving the community yearning for justice and closure. But just when it seemed that time had dulled the memory of Gretchen's tragedy, the headlines roared back to life in November 1983. A glimmer of hope appeared as a Marple Township detective received an anonymous letter from someone claiming to possess vital information about the case. The lead detective made a heartfelt appeal, urging the letter's author to come forward with more details. Yet silence shrouded the mystery informant, keeping their identity a secret for years to come. As the years passed, Gretchen's memory lived on, forever etched into the hearts of those who loved her. The yearning for answers endured, ever hopeful that one day the truth would surface and justice would prevail for the beloved girl whose life was taken too soon. In early 2023, investigators had a breakthrough as they sat down with a criminal informant, a woman who had gone to school with both Gretchen and Zoe Harrington, one of Gretchen's sisters. She recalled her friendship with David Zandstra's daughters and how she often played at their home, even staying for sleepovers. But her innocent memories turned into a harrowing account as she revealed that during 2 of those sleepovers, she was subjected to disturbing and inappropriate advances from Mr. Zandstra, awakening to him touching her inappropriately. During the woman's testimony, she revealed to investigators a haunting artifact from her childhood, a diary once filled with a young girl's dreams and, as it turned out, an alarming confession penned in her innocence. This entry was flagged and dated September 15, 1975, just days after Gretchen's disappearance. It eerily read, "Guess what? A man tried to kidnap Holly twice," referring to a girl in her class. She had scribbled, "It's a secret, so I can't tell anyone, but I think he might be the one who kidnapped Gretchen. I think it was Mr. Z." She was cryptically hinting at David Zandstra. The words trailed off, hinting at a dark secret that she couldn't share with anyone, believing that Zandstra might be the very person behind Gretchen's abduction. The revelations unleashed a torrent of renewed investigation into David Zandstra's past, and the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. It came to light that the Zandstras had hastily moved to Plano, Texas, shortly after these events, evading the scrutiny of the time. The chilling truth hovered in the air, and investigators were determined to delve deeper into the case, rekindling the hope that had long dimmed. Justice for Gretchen seemed within reach, but only time would tell if the secrets buried for so long would finally come to light, and Gretchen's family could find the closure they had yearned for all these years. The new information sent investigators on a determined mission to track down David Zandstra, who had relocated to Marietta, Georgia, northwest of Atlanta. At the time of Gretchen's tragic disappearance, he held the position of a reverend at Trinity Church Chapel Christian Reformed Church in Broomall, and his close friendship with the Harrington family proved him with an opportunity to exploit Gretchen's trust on that fateful morning. Zandstra's past revealed a pattern of being deeply involved in religious circles. He became an ordained minister in New Jersey during the 1960s and later moved to Chester, Pennsylvania, to establish a new congregation. By the early 1970s, he was actively involved in Trinity Church Chapel, where he led youth summer workshops, including ones for teen girls like Gretchen, and assisted in the Bible school she attended. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, and the veil of suspicion grew ever darker around David Zandstra. Justice for Gretchen was no longer a distant dream. It stood within reach, but whether it would be achieved remained uncertain. The road to closure would be paved with revelations and painstaking scrutiny, all in the pursuit of bringing to light what happened to the young girl who was taken from her family so tragically. The interview with David Zandstra at Cobb County Police Headquarters in Marietta on July 17, 2023, brought forth a shocking revelation. Initially denying any involvement, he eventually broke down and confessed to the heinous act. According to the police complaint, David Zandstra admitted to seeing Gretchen walking towards the church that fateful morning. He confessed to picking her up in his green AMC Rambler station wagon under the pretense of taking her to church. However, his intentions were far darker. Instead, he drove her to a nearby wooded area where he forced her to remove her clothes. When Gretchen refused, he told investigators that he became overwhelmed with desire and ejaculated while she was still in the vehicle. The horrifying ordeal took a violent turn as David Zandstra, in a moment of rage, struck Gretchen with his fist, causing her to bleed from her head. In the aftermath of the tragic incident, realizing that Gretchen appeared lifeless, he attempted to cover her half-naked body with sticks and then fled the scene, leaving her lifeless body alone in the desolate woods. The chilling confession painted a horrifying picture of betrayal and brutality, revealing the monstrous actions of someone who was supposed to be a man of the cloth and a trusted friend of Gretchen's family. The truth at long last had come to light, bringing with it a sense of closure for Gretchen's loved ones, but also deep pain and sorrow for the loss of an innocent life so brutally taken. On July 24, 2023, justice finally began to take shape for Gretchen as the District Attorney's Office in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, announced the formal charges against David Zandstra, 83, of Marietta, Georgia, for her murder. The man who had once served as a minister at the church in the 1970s now faced a barrage of charges, including criminal homicide, kidnapping of a minor, possessing an instrument of crime, and murder of the first, second, and third degrees. Denied bail and held in Cobb County, Georgia, David Zandstra fought against extradition to Pennsylvania, prompting the authorities to seek a governor's warrant to bring him to Delaware County. District Attorney Stolzheimer vowed to ensure that justice was served, declaring that they would try and convict David Zandstra, ensuring that he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. The community found solace in the knowledge that the man responsible for Gretchen's abduction and murder would finally face the consequences of his actions, and the haunting cloud that had lingered over Broomall for nearly 48 years began to lift. Gretchen's case had profoundly impacted the town, and Chief Brandon Grafe of the police department in Marple Township acknowledged the transformation it brought to the community. The charges filed against David Zandstra marked a big step towards closure, a long overdue vindication for Gretchen and her grieving family. The memory of Gretchen's stolen innocence would forever remain in their hearts, but the promise of justice provided a glimmer of hope that her tragic tale would serve as a warning, ensuring that no other child would fall victim to such evil again. The impact of Gretchen's tragic fate on the once idyllic town of Broomall, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, was profound. The innocence of the community was shattered on that fateful day in August 1975, leaving a deep scar that forever changed the lives of the children, parents, families, and everyone who called the town home. The pursuit of justice never waned, and finally in 2023, a shocking breakthrough led to the arrest of the former minister, David Zandstra. The long-awaited trial set to unfold promises to bring answers and closure to the community that has carried the weight of this tragic chapter for so long. Will justice prevail, offering solace to Gretchen's family and the town? What secrets will the trial unravel, shedding light on the darkness that once shrouded their lives? We'll be posting an update once the verdict is reached.